So I'm gonna resume with the dunnock story I haven't finished yesterday. Don't worry, I remember it well. That I owe you a story. And before we do that, from the right, okay, hold on, it stopped now. Yeah, well, that was a song thrush. I mean, you've heard it in the beginning of the video. There's many more song thrushes right now. For the first week or week and a half or 2 weeks, we've heard only that one, and now it's like I don't know, 4, 5 different song thrushes around here, holding different territories. So that one male was very successful because it arrived very soon, and then probably took the best territory there was and held it for some time before the other males arrived. Now you hear many more song thrushes around here. There's that one. And like their song echoes from all sorts of different corners, and from that forest there, and yeah. And by the way, funnily enough, we're hearing dunnock up ahead. That song there. So dunnock's here as well. You heard it over there yesterday on the other path that we were taking. Ooh. Well, what the hell? Almost looked like a pheasant for a moment, but I don't think... Was it a pheasant? I don't think. I think it would make this alarm call sound that it does when you flush a pheasant. But that was an interesting bird. I don't know what it was. It was a large bird, and it just flew off the feeder. I was thinking wood pigeon, but it was like brown, sort of, you know, kind of had a color like a pheasant. Don't hear dunnock anymore. Well, we are hearing starlings. Ah, there's the dunnock. That there is the dunnock. I'm gonna keep walking. That is a dunnock. That. Gonna stop, risk it. Yep. So this high-pitched song, that one, almost sounds like a wren, but it's much shorter, like 5 times shorter actually. That is a dunnock. So, speak of the devil, that's the story I wanted to finish. So, the female dunnock, as I was saying last time, is by default unfaithful and promiscuous to the male. And male, by default, is suspecting female that she will be promiscuous and unfaithful. And therefore, he, multiple times a day, he pecks at her cloaca to eject the sperm of other males before copulating with her, to make sure that it's only his sperm staying in her cloaca. And cloaca, as I said, is that, you know, birds want to rule them all whole for everything. And he copulates with her more than 100 times a day. I said 1,000 in the last video because I remembered it incorrectly, but it's more than 100 times a day, which is still a pretty high number, you know. Although their copulation in total takes only... Hear that song? Sweet, melodic kind of sad song, this one. And it's actually, that bird is up there on the branch on that tree, on the cherry tree. So this is and we haven't heard it this well yet. That's a robin. Lovely bird. Very fierce one too. You wouldn't say that when you see robin, such a cute, sweet bird, but it's very fierce. So yeah, that's a robin, and it's sitting up on that cherry tree up there, singing beautifully. But I'm gonna finish the next story. I'm gonna talk about robin definitely some other time. But it's cool that we heard it. So up to 100, more than 100 times a day, the male copulates with the female, but their copulation, you know, takes, I don't know, 5 seconds, not even that maybe, you know. So it's not that crazy when you kind of measure the time, but, you know, still pretty, a lot of, you know, a lot of copulation throughout the day. And a lot of geez, I was gonna say vagina pecking, cloaca pecking. My God, yeah. Scientists would really kill me right now. But cloaca, of course, not a vagina. So a lot of cloaca pecking, and more than 100 times a day of copulation. But say they do it for 5 seconds. Times 100, so it's not that crazy, but for a small bird like that, it definitely is. And it is really, all of this is because of the sperm competition, because the female is trying to get as much sperm samples as possible, and the male is trying as much as he can to make sure that it's only his sperm in the female's cloaca. So there's this sperm competition going on, and the female is not helping the male at all. She wants to have as much as she can. And the reason why she's doing it, you know, you might ask, and one explanation might be that, you know, oh, she's just enjoying it. But actually, the reason behind it is that she wants to have as much DNA in her brood, in her batch of eggs, let's say, as she can, because when those chicks hatch and they are fathered, or they have a DNA of multiple fathers, then those males that copulated with the female, they will take care of the chicks along with the female. So you can have a nest where there are chicks in the nest, and there's like 4 different, or like 3 or 4 different males that are helping out the female with the chicks, and that is pretty damn helpful for the female, right? So and not only that, but also in that one single nest you have samples of DNA of multiple different males, so you have like more variety, more diversity, which is a good thing, you know. And usually works the way that female picks out the strongest male, because she wants to have the strongest offspring, and the ones that will most likely survive, and so on and so forth. But dunnock seems to be playing it on the like diversity side, and on the, you know, like the more diverse the better, sort of. And more so because those males will help her out with the nesting and with taking care of the chicks. And so that is it. That's the story. And dunnock is the breeding system that they have, the polyandry, polygyny, and so on and so forth. It largely depends on the food supply, and it largely depends on the density of the territories in that particular area. So when you're going to have territories that will overlap a lot, so you have a radius of a territory, and if those territories overlap, then you can have a male they will be keeping they will have multiple nests and will keep multiple females. But then the opposite can happen as well. You can have a multiple males keeping one female, and so on and so forth. So all of that largely depends on the scarcity of food, on the environment, and on the overlap of the territories. And I think there's some correlation which they found out that if there is a plenty of food, then I think the dunnock switches to monogamy, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of this is largely driven by scarcity and by territory overlap, if I understood it correctly. So dunnock really does all these things strategically and for a very specific and for a very smart reason. And that smart and that sperm competition thing, and copulating more than 100 times a day, pecking the cloaca, that is all just adaptation that was built on top of it, because obviously the male wants to be the father of all those offsprings, because that is his because that is his life's goal. You know, that's what they want to do. Males are here to reproduce and spread his own genes, spread his own genes. So if he fails to do that, then unfortunately it's as if he failed in life. That's how it is. So if it's crucial for the male to really make sure those chicks will be mine, and I'll be the sole father of them. But with dunnocks, there's a Fringilla calyps chaffinch from the right, that one, and that long loud song. Wow, that was very long. That one is a wren, the king of birds. That one. Yep. And it was very long. And sometimes it's so long, like rarely you hear a bird that makes sort of a continuous motive that is so long. Like, yeah. Like a wren really has one of the longest motifs out there. So then of course you have like birds like I don't know, starlings that like have this like chatter, and it just goes on and on and on and on, but it's not the same. This is like a firm, clear song that has start and an ending, and it's like a whole motif, and it's very long. It's really one of the longest I know. And if you hear such a long song, loud, high pitch in the forest from the ground, usually, you know it's a wren. So that is the strategy that was created through all those various reasons, and it's very dynamic and very sort of very dynamic, I would say. Yeah, it just changes a lot depending on the outside influences and all the outside constellations of the environment, of the scarcity of the food, and so on and so forth. So that was the dunnock, and it's really a fascinating bird. If you see it on the picture, if you Google dunnock, how it looks like, it doesn't look like very specific, really. It's like a brownish grayish bird, but it has a very fascinating life indeed. And the song is quite hard for many people to learn, and even for me in the beginning it was hard, because it is not specific in any way. It doesn't have any specific melody that you could remember, and it doesn't have any characteristics that would make you like, oh, that is a dunnock. But how I used to identify them was that if I couldn't recognize it, it was dunnock. That was my initial sort of thing, how I learned dunnock, because it just didn't resemble anything else, and I couldn't recognize it, so it was a dunnock. because I knew every other bird out there. But now I realized in like actually this year probably I realized, or last year I realized, because I misidentified it for a wren, and then I realized, oh yeah, it does sound like a wren. It sounds like a higher pitched, sped up song of a wren, which ends much sooner, and that's how it sounds to me, and that really kind of helped me to fix it in my mind. So that is just a tip maybe for you if you don't know how to recognize and remember dunnock song. It's like wren song, sped up, higher pitched, and yeah, there was a chaffinch. By the way, we're hearing an interesting drumming right now. Hear that? That is a woodpecker. That is... Oh, okay, so maybe not. Wow, that was interesting. Because it sounded like the smallest woodpecker that lives in Central Europe, as far as I know. And it's super tiny. It's like as size of a sparrow, basically. And it makes these not very loud, cute drummings, you know, that sounds like a little bit like a ping pong ball hitting a table. But it wasn't it. It was a larger bird. It was probably great spotted. So maybe next time we're gonna see it, because it definitely lives here and I come across it sometimes, but it wasn't it. So maybe next time. But so yeah. But again, if you're gonna have troubles remembering or recognizing dunnock, it's a song like unlike any other, and it sounds a bit like wren's song, but sped up, higher pitched, and much shorter. So that's something that helped me. So yeah, I'm gonna sign off now.